What is going on, everybody? Just wanted to drop this video. Hopefully you guys will see this by about like 7:30 p.m., 8 p.m., an hour before the season 8 premiere drops. Just want to do a quick maybe 10, 15, 20-minute video on kind of just Game of Thrones in general, a season 8 theories, predictions, discussions, final death, polls, kind of, and then ask the question of what you want the ending to be, but then what you think the ending will be. So I don't want to take too long here. Just want to discuss it. We've got our Game of Thrones Stark Winter's Coming shirt on, uh, and we're just under 2 hours out. I honestly can't believe it's here. I'm kind of more. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'm more depressed and sad that it's starting because I know it's going to end in like 6 weeks. Um, I'd rather go back to like the 2 or 3 years waiting because then I know like there's time and it's not going to end. Because I mean, I'm glad that it's here, but I'm sad that it's going to end. So I don't know what I'm more. Am I more anxious and happy and excited that I'm actually going to. There's Game of Thrones. I'm going to find out an ending. We're going to get to see like these big final battles and final chess pieces. Or are you more sad that it's going to end? I think I'm more on the sad end. Um, but we'll see how it goes. Between any anime, Marvel, Avengers, Game of Thrones is definitely the thing that I'm invested in the most and probably have the most knowledge about, at least show wise. Um, so it's going to be a lot. It's going to be big here, and I really can't wait until it kicks off. So just wanted to float some theories out there that I know a lot of people have, or maybe not a lot of people have, but is out there, like on the Reddits and the forums and the YouTubes and all that stuff. I guess the biggest one um, is Bran the Night King. Like that's pretty much the biggest theory. I'm trying to think. I feel like they could go that direction in the book, but I feel like there's just not enough to go that direction in the TV show. There's not enough time, in my opinion. I feel like there's so much to cover in 6 episodes. Yes, granted, 2 or 3 of the episodes are going to be a lot longer than an hour. Um, But man, I if they go that route, they've got to start. They haven't even started really hinting at it, um, on any kind of like parallel connection or he could be who he is. Because then there's the theories that he is the Night King, or that he was the one whispering in everybody's head and made the Mad King go mad, and he was the one that was really in the mind of Bran the Builder that made him put up the ice wall. And when the Mad King was screaming "burn them all," he wasn't talking about the people, he was talking about all the whites and the White Walkers. And it's just a real big theory that I just don't think the TV show has time to go. I don't discredit it happening in the books. I just can't see how they cover all that in because we haven't really gone into the Mad King stuff or really had any kind of like the biggest flashbacks we've had are the Tower of Joy stuff related to Jon. We had that fight with Arthur Dayne and Ned and um Howland Reed, but we haven't really gone back and had like a flashback where we flash back to like Jamie and the Night King, Jamie and the Mad King, and maybe a young Ned, a young Robert Baratheon, and really stayed there for like 5, 10, 15, half an episode. The longest flashback we've had is the Hodor and the Tower of Joy stuff, but we never stay. We've never had like half an episode dedicated to it. So I just really can't see them. I can't see that theory coming to light on screen unless episode 1, episode 2, they really start hinting at it. Um, so that's just a theory that's been floating out there. I don't know if it's true. I just don't think they can cover it. Um, but I wouldn't. But then you've got to bounce back and forth between the theory of I wouldn't doubt that Bran has changed the past, even though the previous Third Eyed Raven said the ink is already dry. Basically, he can't go back and change the past. Um, but then there are those theories there that he yelled out to young Ned and he turned around when he heard him yell father. Um, he didn't really change the past of Hodor rather than him. But then you're going to get into tricky time paradoxes and time travel and what is really happening, because we saw him go back in time in Worgen to young Hodor, which was linked to previous Hodor who saw his own death. And then it's just this like this loop that you're just going to be in this like paradoxal loop of like which came first. Um, did Bran go back in time first because he needed to do that to Hodor, or was he always meant to go back in time to do that because the previous him always knew that he was going to need Hodor to be the it? You're going to get real like confused there. Um, because it just leaves you always get that like chicken or egg question, like which one happened first, and you could sit there and debate that forever. um Again, was the Mad King really going mad, or was that Bran trying to go back in time and warn people and just chose to war into the Mad King, maybe like he did Hodor? um I don't know, it's just a big, I wouldn't doubt that he, I don't want to say he can control time, but I don't know if the previous Third Eye Raven said he can't change the past because he didn't want Bran messing things up, or maybe doing something that he can't undo on his own. Um, and do we even think, speaking of Third Eye, do we think Bran is now on the level of the Third Eyed Raven? Do we think he's still under him? Do we think he's greater? I don't know if Bran has really grasped it all yet, but we also haven't gotten a lot of Bran since the Hodor, honestly. We've gotten like snippets here, snippets there, but we haven't gotten like time, dialogue inside his mind other than what he had with Sam. Um, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. So that's a major theory. Do you think Bran's a Night King? I'm going to say no, at least for TV show purposes. Another wild one I'm getting is that Littlefinger is still alive. Again, this is even more wild, and how you're going to fit that on screen. Bring him back, but then you've got it. You have to kill him again if he's alive. People are saying that girl we saw him talking to in the kennels when Aya was like spying on him. They're saying that's a faceless man or faceless woman, whatever you want to say, and that he gave her a coin to wear his face. So the person they really assassinated wasn't him. It was a faceless man. But then my question is like, where do you get the face? Where do you get his face from if he's still alive? And I just think Aya would know that that wasn't the real one, and maybe would have pulled off it. That's out there, and a lot of people believe that one hard. I just can't see them killing him, bringing him back. What purpose would he serve, and then to kill him again? That's out there. That's wild. I don't really know. Um, do we think that Dany ends up having a kid? I don't know. That kind of gets into the how do you think the story's going to end and how you want the story to end. Um, my thing is, does she have? I don't think there's going to be enough time for her to get pregnant, hold it to term, and deliver it in the storyline unless she lives the entire time. But then she's going to be fighting this battle slash pregnant, and I don't. Can she get pregnant is the question. I'm going to say if you're one of those people that thinks that Jon and Dany are both going to die, and Tyrion is going to have to like groom their child to be the next person that sits on the Iron Throne, then yes, Dany can get pregnant, she'll have a child and do all that. I just I don't know where I put my chips on that. Between her and because like some people still think Cersei's lying to Jaime that she's pregnant, and that was just to like get him to stay and not betray her. But then there were hints where like Tyrion offered to pour her wine and she declined it. Was that because she's pregnant or because she didn't really want to drink the wine? I don't know. Either way, I don't think Cersei ends up delivering that kid. I'm more of the ones that I'm along the lines that maybe um Jaime has to kill Cersei, like that's how she has to die. And then maybe he'll die in the process and they'll both die in each other's arms. Or maybe he'll kill Cersei and he'll die, and maybe he'll have to go through the mountain to kill Cersei, but he kills her, but then he ends up dying in Brienne's arms. Something in this like love triangle thing I think will happen. Um, but that goes along the lines of how you want the story to end. How I The dark side of me wants the Night King to win. I never watched Sopranos, but I know Sopranos has people always talk about that dramatic like cut to black ending they had. I wouldn't mind him just killing everybody. Maybe it's just him and Bran left, um, or him, Bran, and an injured John. But they like the dragons are all dead. They have the numbers, and it's just the Night King sitting on the throne, and the screen cuts to black, and that's it. I know a lot of people will be tight about that, but I wouldn't mind that ending. What I think I want to happen, I think I want John to survive and sit on the Iron Throne, have Sam be his hand, Bran live, and he has to raise him and Daenerys' child. Um, and I want the board to be completely wiped clean. You got to set the board. And what I mean by the board is like the major magical players and everything. All the White Walkers have been obliterated. The Night King is dead. All his lieutenants, they're all wiped off the board. They'll never come back to the light again. But in turn, also the dragons, the two that are alive and the one that's dead, they are all wiped off the board as well. So like the chess piece, the game is like we hit a hard reset. Everyone's back to like basic infantry, no skin level. Um, and it just goes back to maybe not having one ruler, but maybe we just go into seven individual. But then that's a lot, like having seven individual kings or five kings, and that could lead to more bloodshed. But maybe Jon does end up sitting on the Iron Throne. I, but in my scenario, Tyrion dies, Dany dies. I think Arya dies, Arya, whichever however you want to pronounce it. I think Sansa will end up staying in the north. No, but I don't see Jon living in King's Landing. Maybe they just don't make that the capital anymore. Maybe he can be the ruler and just rule from the north, and have somebody like look over the south for him and the Riverlands and the Eyrie and just everything else, have a warden. And I just don't see him being as like hard, fast, and strict to everything. But Jon on the Iron Throne with him and Daenerys' baby, Sam as his hand, Bran kind of always, just checking to make sure that there's no threats, there's no Night King being made. The Children of the Forest have also been wiped out in my scenario. Maybe one direwolf survives, and it's just regular humans, and the story just kind of that's how it plays out. That's my like that's the Lord of the Rings ending, where Strider ends up becoming king, and Gandalf and Frodo sail off into the sunset, and evil has been driven from the world and is never going to rise again. There's no more need. There's no need for wizards and XYZ. It just the rule of men goes forward, and that's kind of that's kind of my want to happen ending. Um, yeah, what I think will happen though, which I don't know if this is true, which I'm probably going to change this because I don't see them killing Jon twice. That's why it's hard for me to see this scenario. What I think will happen, Tyrion and Dany live, Jon dies. Um, Daenerys ends up sitting on the Iron Throne. She delivers their kid, and their kid is the prince that was promised. He's the true, like, bringer of the dawn. He's the one that's meant to sit on the Iron Throne. And she's just warden, protector. She's just protector of the realm until the child comes of age. Um, and Tyrion's her hand. And again, the same thing kind of happens here. Maybe she gets one dragon that lives. Drogon ends up living, but the other two are wiped out. Um, and it's just her, Drogon, the kid, and Tyrion ruling the Seven Kingdoms. It's just really hard for me to see them killing Dany with how strong her conviction is. If Game of Thrones continued the same way it was in the beginning of the seasons, where nobody was safe and everybody died, I would 100% believe that Dany is going to die. There's no saving her. But we got a lot of like plot armory, fake out deaths here, not really death. How did they make it out of this scenario? Time? How'd you get from here to here? Like I'm objective to the show. I mean, even though I love it, there's some objections. A lot of people should have died that are still alive. Tormund, the ones that went beyond the wall, there's a lot of people that should be dead. Aya getting gutted in the stomach and then turning into Assassin's Creed. There's a lot going on that they kind of shifted from nobody's safe to we're gonna pick and choose who we give plot armor to. I could see them just putting her on the Iron Throne. Like this has been from what is it, episode 1 or 2? When did we see her? I think episode 2. Did we see her episode 1? I can't remember. Um, but I can see her reaching her goal. She sits on the Iron Throne with her kid, Tyrion by her side, Drogon, who's been there protecting her from the beginning, and she just rules. She rules. Sansa, Bran, and Arya stay alive. They live and rule in the North. Maybe they let them have the North. Like she doesn't. She just becomes king or queen, but doesn't force everybody to bend the knee and respects Jon's wishes. And I just see Jon dying, having to kill the Night King. Um, so what I want to happen, Jon sits on the Iron Throne, raises their kid, Sam as his hand. What I think will happen, Dany sits on the Iron Throne, raises the kid, Tyrion as her hand. My dark twisted want to happen, the Night King wins. He just wins. He wins. He wins. Um, yeah. But what I'm afraid of though is how we had last season where we took down that one White Walker, and it knocked down the rest around him. I think we're gonna have some kind of like Saruman Lord of the Rings ending where they cut down the Night King and the hundred thousands of dead that he have all fall. So we're not gonna have to kill them all because clearly we don't have the numbers. So if you're just talking numbers, they would easily win. I think we end up slaying him down, and the ones that he've risen fall. It's like a cop out excuse, kind of cheap. I didn't like it when I saw it last season. Um, but I think that's what's going to happen. How they end up getting close enough to him, though, is the question. Do they ride on the dragons? We got direwolves. How do they get through the masses of the dead to get close enough to him is the biggest question. But I think that's how it's going to happen. They end up slicing him down, and everybody that he's risen falls. What I would like to see is him steamroll over Winterfell, and everybody has to retreat to King's Landing, like down to Cersei. And then she has to make a decision, like, do I let everybody in? Maybe Jaime has to go in, and that's when he kills her, and that's where the final battle goes down. I'm not sure, but I want to say they kind of handle and defeat him in the first 2 or 3. I think it's the third episode that's supposed to be really long. That's going to be like their Helm's Deep Gondor scene. It's supposed to be the longest theatrical battle ever on screen, movie or TV. So that's going to be wild. Um, but I think that is what's going to happen. He's going to get sliced down and everybody else dies around him. We'll see what happens. But I would like to see him just like they thought they had a chance. He smacks them over at Winterfell. Everybody's got to fall back and retreat, and then they regroup and try it again. Um, I guess the last little discussion here. Let's do some quick death predictions here. Who lives? Who dies? Let's start at the top. Jon. I just can't see them killing him twice and it having the same impact. It's got to be a really good death scene. I'm talking like he's got to die in front of Arya, Sansa, Dany. If he dies, that's how he dies. He's got to die in front of people. He can't just get like backstabbed again or die out there on the field with the Night King and nobody see it. I feel like it's got to be real impactful. So I'm gonna say Jon lives. Dany dies. Arya dies. Sansa, Sansa lives. Bran is a wild card here because, like, does he need, if you believe the theory, does he need to die for the Night King to die? And, I'm going to say Bran dies. So right now, the only two I have living are Jon and Sansa. I'm going to say Jaime dies, Cersei dies, Tyrion lives. So you got Jon, Sansa, Tyrion all living. I'm trying to think of, like, some other characters. I could see Bronn dies. I'm gonna say Brienne lives. Podrick dies. The Mountain dies. The Hound dies. Beric Dondarrion dies. But then I'm trying to think like if they do the big Lord of the Rings ending where they put the crown on Dany's head, who's gonna be in the throne room if everybody's dead? Um, I'm gonna say Missandei lives. Davos lives. Melisandre dies. Varys dies. I don't even know if we'll catch up with Robin Aaron. I'm gonna say he dies, but I don't know who takes over the veil in his stead. I'm gonna say Little Mormont. Uh, she lives. Mm, I mean, we could sit here and go through like the B list and C list characters, but I'm not gonna go through that. Just kind of like the big overarching characters. The only ones I really have surviving: Jon, Sansa, Tyrion, Sam, Bran. I think everybody else is up to die. Everybody else is up to die. Um, Qyburn plays an interesting role. Um, and maybe that's what happens. This is a big theory of what I think might happen. They get defeated at Winterfell. The Night King starts marching south. They try to retreat south to King's Landing to board back up to really like make it fortified and like give one last push. She's got the Golden Company there thinking, "Hey, I'm not going to let you guys in. We can kill you now and we'll deal with whatever comes next." They find out through Bran, through somebody, that Jon is really like the prince that was promised. He's really a Targaryen. He's like the rightful heir. They betray Cersei, let everybody in. Jaime has to kill her. All that wild stuff. I don't know. Again, this is turning into a 20-minute video. I could sit here and talk until 9 o'clock. I'm gonna get this up for you guys, but yeah, just main overarching theories. Do you have any? Leave your comments here. This is going to be the thoroughest discussion of anything we do on my channel. I won't go this deep into animes or movies or anything like that because I'm most invested into this. But are there any theories out there that you've heard that you agree with that you think are just too wild to even possibly happen? Leave those down below. What is the ending you think will happen? What do you think HBO and Dan and Dave are going to put on the TV? What ending do you think will happen? And then opposite of that, what ending do you want to happen? If you got the ending, what do you want to happen? But what do you think will also happen? And then give me your deaths. Who lives, who dies? So those 4 questions. Any theories? The ending you think will happen, the ending you want to happen, and who lives and who dies. I'll catch everybody Monday. Um, every video I put up this season is going to be 2 parts, maybe even 3. The longer episodes might be 3 parts, but the ones that are usually like the hour 10, I'm going to have 2-parters. So if you were spamming the first episode, you're like, hey, where's the reaction to this part of the episode? This was the best part of the episode. I can't believe you cut that off. Check back like an hour or 2 after the first video that you're watching. I'm going to have 2. I'm going to put them up every Monday. We're going to have 2 or 3 parts of the reaction. And we'll go from there. So 2 parts every Monday for the next 6 Mondays. And then that's it. So theories, what will happen, think will happen, deaths. Enjoy the episode tonight, guys, and I can't wait. Like, share, favorite, subscribe, and as always,